Talk of the Town podcast, post-match Dunstable Town 1, Harpenden 3, here with Dunstable manager Steve O'Reilly. Steve, the little run of games comes to an end, winning. Obviously, we've got a draw on Saturday, first defeat in a little while, mate. What's your thoughts as we stand here post-match?
Look, always disappointed whenever we lose a game. As you say, I think I tried to say to the lads a little bit really that we've been on a good little run away from home, and that we ought to be trying to get some points at home. It's important for us, and we get great support here. So it's really disappointing, that we haven't really picked up anything tonight. I've got no complaints with the result. I think Harpenden deserved the game, deserved to take the points, and I think that we were architects in that, in terms of the goals that we've given away, and kind of not really dealing with kind of the way that they played. And so just a bit frustrated with that really. So we've got to do better. We've got to handle games like that better, and we've got to understand that look, there's times we can play good football and we can get on the ball and play, and we did that as well tonight, and some positives around that. But you've got to do your basics right. And look, Harpenden have got quality players, and they hurt us in that way. There's some direct stuff that we didn't really deal with on first contact, and they've got pace. Obviously, Danny caused us a few problems in the first half of his pace, and just those type of things we just didn't really deal with well enough. And I spoke to the lads, and look, I can take losing. Look, I understand it's going to be part of our process a little bit. We're not going to win every game, and progress isn't like a constant. It's not always going to go up, and you're going to have little blips in the road. I just thought just a couple of times our body language wasn't quite what I wanted to see tonight. So, look, overall disappointed. I want us to do better. I want us to do better at home, particularly, and we haven't quite done that again tonight. So, look, more learning for us. Still young lads out there that are finding their way, and different types of pressures and expectation, and each game brings different challenges, and some of them ones we've not seen yet. So, disappointed. Look, I want us to win some home games. That's a big thing for me now, and I think these fans deserve us to be doing that. The support again was great, and we just didn't quite do enough today.
Yeah, you mentioned there, obviously, I was in that with you guys at half-time and full-time. Is it a case sometimes of 2 or 3 steps forward, a couple of steps back? You mentioned there, and as you were chatting to the lads after the game, it is a process, and they are young lads, but like you just said, we can't keep using that as an excuse. How important is it that they learn lessons from today? Like you say, you'll watch the game back, the lads will, you'll debrief with them on Thursday, but how important is it that we do learn lessons from games like today? Because we have been on a good run, it has been going well. We've won a couple, we drew at the weekend, a few steps forward. Today, it's a little step back, but it's all part of a process, like you just said. It's not, no one's hitting a panic button. It's one game of football, and we've been on a little run. But what do you do now to the lads to make sure that the message has got to get through, that you've got to learn, like you said, starting second halves. The boys just said in there, we can't start how we started today in the first half. We went out a little bit sloppy, started the second half, and then we grew into it. The lads know that, and you can see that when you're chatting to them. How hard is it going to be now for you to get that message across so we do that on the football pitch?
Yeah, I don't think it's hard getting the message across. It might be hard for them to kind of put it into action. I think that's the difficulty. Yeah, look, from my perspective, the fact that we're young, it's never an excuse in terms of losing the games, and there's positives in it, and you go, well, these are all just learning experiences for us, and we can still learn when we're winning. So, my view is that we should be winning more. And I think that there's a lot of ability in this team, and there's lots of positives in terms of how we played. I thought, it would be very easy in that game today, after that third goal had gone in, to have just, capitulated, or to not gone for it, and just to play the game out and kind of gone, we're going to settle for 3, or we don't want to get, and we didn't, and we stayed really on the front foot. And probably actually after the third goal, we probably had 5 or 6 opportunities. We've had the balls come across the box a lot of times. We haven't quite got good contact on a few. We've got the goal. We've had some set piece opportunities. They carried a threat on the break. They've got some good pace, and they can do that. But look, the learning part is just part of the process, and I think that where the challenge will be is, if we're not learning the lessons quickly enough, and sometimes it's going to take a couple of games. Sometimes it's more about facing different types of games. So Shefford are different to Harpenden, and they'll be different to Tring on Saturday. And there's as much as we can do, and ultimately the responsibility is with us to prepare the lads and get them right. But it's how quickly can they recognise stuff in a game that they might need to do differently, or recognise they come up against a certain type of player. Well, actually, that's how you've got to deal with it, or a formation, or a way that a team plays. And look, I'm not saying that I'm always going to get it right. I'm going to make mistakes of it as well. I've just been around longer than these lads, and so maybe have seen a little bit more. Those lads haven't quite got that yet. So Yeah, look, we'll keep working at it. You know, we'll have a good preparation for Tring on Saturday, which is another big game for us in the Vars. You know, we'll have a positive session on Thursday, like they always are. And as I said, if you look over the spell over the last few weeks, we've made good strides, and I think that we still show today that we can create and we can have opportunities. And as I said, some of the football was good, but you know, it's just again those little mistakes or those little moments in games that we're not quite grasping. You know, and I say it's the better teams in this league and the better players do. So, yeah, look, it won't be difficult to get the message across, but yeah, it might just take some time for it to sink in for some of these lads.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. If you look at like Biggleswade in Romania, you know, it's there. The message, you know, they listened. It worked. Is this just a case of like tonight was just one of them nights where every team has it from the Premier League all the way down? You could turn up and it's not your night. Is it just a case of parking this, turning up at training on Thursday and going again on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for it to be a night if you concede, you know, within the first 3 or 4 minutes. And it was a ridiculous goal for us to give away. You know, I'll have to watch it back on the video, but our shape was really poor in that moment, and you know, it just couldn't happen. And we knew the threat of what that was going to be, and it was just very disappointing from that perspective. So yeah, look. That would be an easy excuse to kind of say, well, actually, it wasn't quite our night. It could have been. You know, we could have, yeah, if we'd have made a handful of better decisions at times today in terms of the game, it could be a completely different game. And that's really what Spartan League football is, and Step 5 football and adult football for some of these boys. It is, can you do better in those moments and not gift stuff? You know, and we gifted stuff today, but when you're presented with opportunities, you've got to take them. And you know, that first half could swing on Ethan's chance and the ball comes across and he doesn't quite get over it. And then again, a couple of minutes later, you know, we're 2 down, and you know, you've got a long way to come back after that. But no, look, you know, these lads are look, they're giving it all. You know, that's not ever been an issue really for me. It's just a little bit of learning. It's a little bit of recognising situations. And if we do that better, we'll continue to improve and to get results. I'm absolutely sure of that. But yeah, we'll be ready to start and do that on Thursday going into Saturday. Yeah,
just finishing up, Steve. Obviously, Tring coming into town on Saturday. Quick turnaround. How do you now shift your focus to the cup game?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that we'll look obviously at the condition of the players. You know, some of these young lads have got FA Youth Cup ties and stuff this week, so you know, we'll have to take all that into consideration. Look, we've got players coming back as well, so it's great for Joe to get back on the pitch today and to get his first goal of the season, which is really big for us. So yeah, we'll look at the strength of the squad. We'll come up with a game plan for how we approach Tring. And yeah, look, there'll be positions up for grabs for players in terms of from a training perspective. Like I say, we've got a couple. You know, so Harrison obviously made his home debut today. We've got Arel now who's on board, which we'll announce soon. So you know, we're adding some depth and kind of experience at Step 5 as well. Not necessarily Arel's a bit older than Harrison, but and yeah, we'll look and we'll make a decision on how we prepare and what we look for to do against Tring. But we know it's going to be a very tough game. They're another good team. You know, they've got good players. You know, they're playing in a good way. They've got a good style about how they play, and we're going to need to be ready and better than we were today in order to get a result. But look, make no bones about it. We'll be prepared for it, and we'll be ready. And it will be again down to the lads once they cross the line in terms of, you know, trying to put in a performance that gets the result.
Steve, as always, mate, thanks for your time. Me and Matt will be back tomorrow with a full catch up, all things Dunstable Town. But till then, everybody, up the Mighty Blues.